Gal Guardian, Servants of the Dark, is the latest in the series and feels like the developers attempted to take 2 steps forward and a few 100,000 steps in random directions. With the sequel, we're continuing our tag team duo action adventure. When the demon lord of a castle is betrayed and turned into a spirit, and all of his MacGuffin bones are now lost in the world, it's up to his 2 most loyal demon maids to go out there and get them all back. As for the first game, you'll swap between our 2 characters at will. There's also co-op and kind of online play at a certain point. One lady is your kind of whip-swinging one, and the other one uses Uzi and shotgun for a real mix of attacks. Now, the first game was a stage-based, kind of a late metroidvania in that respect. With Servants of the Dark, they go full-on metroidvania. You have a very wide world to explore, more on that in a few minutes, and you'll be finding upgrades for the duo. As an interesting touch, sub-weapons now take in the form of equipment that can drop from different enemies, and there's kind of like a passive system where they can have like different things on them, like more attack, fire resist, etc, etc. And of course you'll be able to swap between them as you go through the game. Now, one of the more unique and kind of weird decisions in terms of progression is how leveling up works. As you kill enemies, there's a random chance they'll drop bones from your demon lord. When you get enough bones, you can take them back to the castle and trade them in for a level up. And leveling up will improve all your base stats, and at certain milestones you'll unlock new abilities, including the power to triple jump. No, I didn't say that. You can jump 3 times or more in this game. It's a very weird kind of progression system, as not every enemy is going to drop it, and it leaves your progression up to RNG. And when you play the game on the higher difficulty, it goes easy, normal, and hard. Higher the difficulty, the greater the item drop chance. But trust me, enemies hit very hard in this one at the start. Now, while the general gameplay here is great, the controls feel very responsive, I love the kind of pixel art and the animation quality in this one. It does leave some very confusing issues. It does feel in a sense like they went for a lot of different ideas and trying to see which ones would stick. So the first problem that I have with it is the world design. The level design in this one is very wide and very unfocused at the same time. Each biome is just massive, with multiple routes, back and forth and back, very few checkpoints and fast travels. And speaking of fast traveling, there's a very confusing system here. You can fast travel back to the castle from any save point for free. However, it's a one-way trip. In order to fast travel back or to other areas, you need to unlock the fast travel in the world. And then it will cost you kind of like 50 gold or $50 in order to fast travel each time. There are very few fast travel locations in this game, and I kind of question why not just using the save points as your fast travel. Especially considering how big and maze-like the space is, and you'll be doing a lot of backtracking in this one. Like any classic Metroidvania, you're going to run into walls and other obstacles that you will not be able to progress until you get a specific upgrade. But of course, remembering where said obstacle was is going to prove to be a challenge considering how big the space is. The different sub-weapon kind of rarity was an interesting idea, but it's too minuscule to really matter. Yes, this weapon now does 2 more points of attack. Okay. It's still your primary weapon is going to be your main source of DPS. And I got lost quite a bit, like due to the size of the world, it kind of starts to feel like space just for the sake of space. I even ran into several sections where obstacles and enemy placements were just duplicated from one room to the next. Boss fights were interesting, but can feel a bit damage spongy unless you just level up or grind enough bones in order to get your attack stat high enough to eat through their health bars. And the grindiness definitely encapsulates a lot of this game. At one point, there is a massive money grind where you'll need $8,000 or gold, whatever we're going to call them, in order to purchase one of the requirements for beating the game. And it just felt like this game was starting to drag on, despite how great the base concept was. Because of that, Gal Guardian Servants of the Dark is a hard Metroidvania to recommend. Again, the basics are good, but it's everything that's connected to them that just doesn't feel like it's working right. With one exception, and that's the inclusion of unlocking a healing spell that your lord can do when like its special meter is charged, as it provides you with essentially infinite healing, which is not something that we normally see in these kinds of games, and it does help soften the blow and definitely reduces the difficulty once you kind of get past the early portions of it. If you are in the mood for Metroidvania, I do think there are better ones to play. The inclusion of co-op and online co-op is a great idea, and that could be the game's main selling grace. But I felt like the first game was more focused, and of course more restrained in that respect. So ultimately, this is probably one that's going to be forgotten very quickly, despite again how charming the story is and the general gameplay. And with that, Gal Guardians was played with a press key provided by developers, so let me tell you, your game doesn't involve maids, Metroidvanias, or anything else like that, please reach out. If you did play this one, let me know what you think about it, and do things improve further as the game goes on? Because I'm just like taking a bet with myself as to when they're going to unlock like instant fast travel to all save points. And if that is the case, I'm going to be very sad about this game. But with all that said, thanks for watching, and I will see everyone in the next video. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and if you're interested in more in my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.